little break, we are going to go ahead and get started with our next class. So once again, my name is Alexa. I'm here with Kayla.
Hello.
And in case you missed this in the first class, just going to go over a couple housekeeping items. So you are automatically muted, but we do still want your participation. So we ask that you use the Q&A for any questions that you have. There is going to be a little Q&A button along the bottom. So if you do have any questions, please use that because that helps us keep track of the questions a little bit better and makes it easier for us to answer. You'll also see a chat button along the bottom as well. You can use the chat for any comments if you just want to pop in to say hello. All of these sessions will be recorded and emailed along with a post-event survey. And then we will also give you access to view the slides as well, along with checklists and then any other training materials. So here's just another look at our schedule for today and tomorrow. We did just finish latest and greatest of RE/MAX technology. Now we'll be moving on to the 5-step lead generation and conversion strategy. And then we have one more class after this. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with 5-step lead generation and conversion strategy. So when you get a lead, what are you going to do right after you receive it? Try to think about online leads as opportunities for introductions, and the rest is up to you. The relationship and the conversation, you have to remember that these are opportunities for introduction, and then it's up to you to really take the next step. So you'll have a higher chance of converting leads if you're offering value right from the beginning. So first, let's go ahead and start there. Here's a little look at our agenda for this class. So after this one, our goal for you is to be able to identify where RE/MAX leads are generated from, to recall how lead routing rules impact how leads are distributed. And then lastly, we want you to be able to execute the 5-step lead conversion strategy on your own. All right, so we're going to go ahead and begin with lead routing review. These are the core concepts that I'm going to be walking you through today. You probably are familiar with a lot of these rules already, but I just want to make sure that we're on the same page before we move on. So the first thing that we need to talk about is what our lead sources are. Again, this might be a familiar concept, but I want you to understand that leads could be coming in through many different lead sources, such as RE/MAX.com, RE/MAX Luxury, RE/MAX Commercial, Bouge websites, Global RE/MAX, your agent app, or other third-party sources. And then all of these leads do get funneled into your Bouge CRM. So when a lead gets generated from one of these sources that I just mentioned in the last slide, the reason is because they performed one of these activities. So they could have filled out a form requesting more information, scheduling a showing, or requesting that you contact them. Or they could have completed an activity such as saving a favorite property, saving a search, adding a My Place, or hiding a listing. Okay, so the next one is going to be universal consumer account setup. In order for a lead on any RE/MAX website entity, in order to become a lead on any RE/MAX website entity, a consumer must first set up their universal consumer account. So in order for them to even be able to do any specific activities, they have to create this account. And they can do this from any of the RE/MAX websites. And because it's universal, they can also use it on any RE/MAX website. So no matter if they create their account on RE/MAX.com and then save some properties there, and then they later decide to download the mobile search app, everything they do on one platform can be accessed and done essentially the same way from another. With a universal account, consumers can like properties, they can hide listings, save searches, and a lot more. All right. So in order for them to set up a universal consumer account, it is a two-step process. So once a consumer has created an account, that account will allow them to, like I said in the last slide, they can favorite properties, they can save searches, etc. This one account will track their activity across any RE/MAX website entity, including remax.com, agent and office booth sites, and then also the RE/MAX real estate search app. So during the account setup, users also have the opportunity to establish a preferred buyer's agent or PBA. And a PBA is the consumer's primary agent. So as a PBA, you will have access to a lot more lead information, and you'll be able to see what type of activity they have. So you'll have guaranteed access to see lead activity within your hierarchy. You'll be able to receive notifications when consumers perform lead generating activity within the state that you're licensed. And consumers can set this up from account registration screen or within their consumer account settings. The preferred agent is selected entirely by the consumer. So from a team or team member standpoint, consumers can list a team member as their preferred agent, but they cannot assign a preferred team. So let's go ahead and talk about PBA in relation to your hierarchy. Within the agent's hierarchy, he or she will be the only agent assigned to the lead. If the agent leaves this hierarchy, the consumer will be assigned a different assigned agent. So ultimately, who do these rules benefit? At the end of the day, it'll be the consumer because it allows them to have more control over which agent they choose to work with. So they aren't pigeonholed into working with just one agent because of an existing relationship. So for broker owners, you can make sure that their agents are staying on top of their communication, knowing that the consumer has a lot of choices out there. And for agents, you can really build a strong relationship with your leads right off the bat.
Perfect. So as Alexa just mentioned, we have our PBA, which is a consumer's choice, saying, hey, I'm working with you, but you also have something called an assigned agent. And this is what happens if a lead gets assigned to any agent within the RE/MAX network from remax.com or from your office website, and you've accepted that lead and you've reached out to them, but they have not yet chosen you as their preferred buyer's agent. So this is what is the normal thought process of when the lead gets assigned to you, you are now called the assigned agent. A little bit more information on the assigned agent and why this is important. Assigned agents do have partial lead protection when it comes to the leads that visit them from wherever they were assigned. And then it also is going to improve that customer experience. If anyone has been with RE/MAX for a long time, you'll remember that previously, whoever had the consumer's email account address in their account first always got that lead information, whether you've actually spoken to that consumer or not. And that didn't create a great consumer experience because maybe they got assigned to, an agent that had their email first, but they've never actually worked with that person. They've never actually talked to them. They've performed lead generating activities. And more often than not, the agent who had their email first never actually reached out or responded to that consumer. Therefore, that consumer typically ended up going to various other offices because they weren't getting responded to. Now, as the assigned agent, and with these new lead routing rules that we have, a consumer is more likely to be responded to from a RE/MAX agent, ultimately keeping it here in the family. A consumer can have as many assigned agents depending on how many unique sites that they're interacting with and becoming a lead on. But again, once you're the assigned agent, you get partial lead protection as long as they continue to browse on that site that they were assigned to you from. They're not going to be given off to a lead or as a lead to anyone else. So let's take a look at something we've mentioned a couple of times, which is lead hierarchy, which you're probably familiar with, but ultimately this is the structure for all RE/MAX offices. Starting from the top, if you're part of a multi-office, you'll have your multi-office at the top. Then underneath that comes all of the offices or office websites in this particular example, and needing to understand, but underneath each of those offices, we'll have the agents and teams that comprise that office. And if it's a team, underneath that are the team members. So this is really important to understand, because this is how lead routing gets determined, what lead gets routed based on the site that they're at, or where you're eligible to receive leads from, because you're only eligible to receive leads from within your own hierarchy or office group, and then remax.com with those zip codes that you enter into your boost settings. So 2 different thought processes, which we'll talk about in just a moment, but it's important to understand your hierarchy and where you lie within it, because that's how you'll receive your leads. So for example, if a lead comes into the office website we have here in this example, only the agents and team members within that office are eligible to receive that lead. If a lead comes even if that office level is within a multi-office hierarchy, that lead's not going to go to another office within their multi-level unless the lead goes to your multi-office website and becomes a lead, if that makes sense. So the next core concept we have are those offered lead settings, or the market area, which we've already touched on. And sorry, I just saw a question come through saying one of the agents is not able to register. They can reach out to product support or email conventions. I'm going to send that. And they should be able to help out. I'm not able to help right now because I'm in the middle of this, but they should be able to contact conventions. Sorry, back on track. So for your offered lead settings, we've talked about this a little bit already, but your offered lead settings are the zip codes that you choose in order to receive leads from. That's where you're eligible to receive leads from, especially when it comes to remax.com. You have 10 opportunities to add 10 unique zip codes to your offered lead settings, and this is called your market area. These should be unique. They should not be duplicated, because it's not going to give you extra tickets in the bucket. So make sure they are up to 10 unique zip codes. And again, this is going to be where you receive leads from. Within those, or within the offered lead settings, so you have your zip codes first for your market area, then you have your filters. And when it comes to your filters, there have been some changes that have happened lately, and they shouldn't really affect you too much, but within your filter section, you will check off the boxes next to the lead types you want to receive. And by default, you will be opted in to receive all lead types, in which case, if you don't want to receive a specific type of lead, you would uncheck that box. This ultimately gives you a lot of control over what leads you're receiving and your lead eligibility. But again, you are automatically eligible to receive all lead types. If anyone remembers, back when lead settings first launched, you had to check the lead boxes next to what you do not want to receive, and that is no longer the case. So make sure you are checking the boxes next to what you want to receive. So if you want to receive leads, make sure you got a ton of check marks in there. If all of your check marks are empty, that could also be another reason why you are not receiving leads. So go in and double check those, which is one of those to-do items that we had at the end of the first class, but really, really important to make sure those are set up. The last piece within your offered lead settings are the text message notifications, and that's going to allow you to receive a text notification saying, hey, you got a lead, do you want to accept it? And it'll have a link in there for you to go and see the lead information. It'll take you to your browser for you to peruse, and then you can accept that lead right from the browser that you open up. It's just a faster way to receive that lead notification inside of your settings. Next piece we got is to focus on lead routing rules. So we understand some of those core concepts that comprise lead routing. So now let's talk about how the leads actually get routed. So on this screen here, we've got what we call a logic map of how leads get routed from remax.com. Now, please keep in mind that remax.com lead routing rules are different than office website lead routing rules. Those are two separate entities. That's why the hierarchy is important for office websites. And then Remax.com lead routing rules are right here that you see on your screen. So we'll start off from the very beginning. A lead comes into Remax.com. The system's going to ask several questions of that lead to determine who to route it to. The first question that the system asks is, does this lead have a PBA selected in their universal consumer account? If the answer is yes, then the lead is going to get routed to that PBA, so long as wherever they became a lead from, or the area that they became a lead in, is where their PBA is licensed. If the lead does not have a PBA selected, then the system's going to ask the second question, and that question is, has this lead been assigned to any agent within that zip code before? If they have, then they're going to go to that existing assigned agent. If they have not been assigned to an agent before, the system will ask a third question, and that is this a Remax listing that the lead is becoming a lead on? If the answer is yes, it is a Remax listing and they don't have a PBA and they don't have an assigned agent, then the lead gets routed to that listing agent. If it's not a Remax listing and they don't have a PBA or assigned agent, then it's going to go to the local expert, which is based on the zip codes that you all have in your Bouge settings. From there, that local expert has an hour to respond before it gets routed to the next local expert. If you are someone's PBA or their assigned agent or the listing agent, you do not have a time limit to respond to that lead. But if you are that local expert, then you have an hour to respond to that lead. Now, unless you know you're the person's PBA or even assigned agent, that'll be a trigger to you like, okay, I can take my time responding to this. But rule of thumb is to respond immediately, no matter what, because, you won't know that you're being selected as a local expert unless you know that you're that person's PBA, right? Or if you know it's your listing. So best rule of thumb is to always, always, always respond as soon as you receive that lead. So let's look at an example of a Remax lead routing timeline. So when the lead first gets routed to that local expert, that is called an initial offer. Again, you have 1 hour to respond, but you don't know that it's an initial offer. We don't just say this is an initial offer. So that's why I'm saying the rule of thumb is to respond as quickly as possible, right? So the initial offer goes through, you have an hour to respond. If you do not respond within that hour, or if you decline the lead, then it's going to get routed to the next local expert. And that local expert is determined again based on that zip code. And then whoever hasn't received a lead from that zip code in the longest time will be the first person to get that initial offer. Then if it goes to the next person, it's going to be the next person who has not received a lead in the second longest time, and then the third longest time, and so on and so forth for that specific zip code. Each local expert has an hour to respond before it gets pushed to the next person. If anyone remembers the old lead routing rules, it was a jump ball where each person got added to the mix and then you were competing with other agents, but that's no longer the case. Now it's just one person at a time. And really that's also going to create a better experience for you as the agent because you're not having to scramble and respond immediately and have it already be taken, right? So these lead routing rules in this timeline, they are applied from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. your local time, 7 days a week. So that means if a lead comes in at 9:56 p.m. your local time, you will have until 8:56 a.m. the following day to respond to that lead. So something just to keep in mind. Next, we have how leads get distributed from your Bouge office website or even your team website. They're going to be similar in concept. So again, the system will ask several questions to determine where the lead should go once they come and become a lead on your office or team website. So a lead comes into your office website, they become a lead, they fill out a form, they become a lead. The system will then ask 4 questions. The first one being, does this lead have a PBA within that office hierarchy? If the lead has a PBA selected in their account within that office hierarchy, then that's where the lead is going to get routed to. If the lead has a PBA in a different office hierarchy, that's a different situation. And so you see that little note at the bottom, that other PBA in another office they'll get what's called a limited lead activity notification saying, hey, your client became a lead somewhere else. You should reach out to them and bring them back home and see why they're venturing off of your website, right? It's not going to tell you whose office website they went to become a lead on. It'll just let you know that it happened. So if a lead becomes a lead on an office website, the system will look to see if their PBA is within that office hierarchy. If their PBA is not within that hierarchy or they don't have a PBA selected, then the system is going to ask the second question, and it's going to look to see if that lead has been assigned to an agent within that office hierarchy ever before. Now, it doesn't have to have a PBA relationship, but if that lead has ever been routed to anyone in the office before. If they have, it will go to that agent. If the lead has not been assigned to anyone and they don't have a PBA, then it's going to look to see if the listing they became a lead on is within that office as well. If that listing is within that office hierarchy, then that lead will get routed to the listing agent. Again, so long as they don't have a PBA or assigned agent already. If they don't have a PBA, if they don't have an assigned agent, and if that listing is not within that office website's hierarchy, then the system will distribute the lead based on what are called lead pods, which every office and every team leader can set up for the office or the team. By default, those lead pods include every single agent within that hierarchy, but a broker or a team lead can go in and create custom lead pods as well. So if you're on a team, you can ask your team leader if they have created custom lead pods, but by default, it includes everyone so that it's a fair chance. And the way that lead gets distributed within that lead pod is, from an office level, for example, to keep it simple. From an office level, whoever has not received a lead in the longest time within that office hierarchy will receive the lead first. They then have an hour to respond before it goes to the next agent who has not received a lead in the second longest time, and so on and so forth. From there, it'll get routed a few times before it becomes unassigned, and the broker will then be able to distribute it to whomever or offer it up to whatever agent in their office level. Last but not least, we have our agent website lead distribution, and this one's really easy to understand. If a lead gets generated on your agent website or your branded mobile app, that lead will get assigned to you no matter what, because you did the hard work to get them there to your website or your branded app. So that lead will come to you, regardless if there's a listing agent involved, regardless if they have a PBA, and regardless if they've been assigned to another agent within your hierarchy. They came to your website or your mobile app, they get assigned to you, which is amazing. So now that we understand a little bit more how leads get routed from these various situations, we're now going to talk about how to convert these leads. Alexa, take it away.
Awesome. Okay, so as one of the optional to-do items for this training, we prompted you to create your own new lead task plan. So if this is something that you completed, let me know in the chat if you were able to do this. And I'll give you a couple seconds to chime in if you were able to create your own new lead task plan. Getting a few responses. All right. If you have not, do not apologize. The reason we ask is because this can also be used as a lead conversion strategy, or this lead conversion strategy can then be converted into a task plan that you create later. Okay. So let's just pretend that you received a notification that you got a new lead. Of course, you want to accept it right away, but now what do you do? This 5-step lead conversion strategy that we're going to be going over today shows you the steps within the CRM that you can take to try to convert an online lead to a relationship. So starting with number 1, You want to investigate where the lead came from and respond immediately. Every aspect of your business says something about who you are and what you have to offer. So you really want to put your best foot forward by ensuring that any online inquiries you receive also get a timely response in order to build trust and earn their business. So let's go ahead and take a little pop quiz. I think I can. Okay. All right. So we have 3 simple questions for you. The first one is going to be, what is the ideal amount of time to respond to a new lead? The next question is, calling within 5 minutes of receiving an online inquiry is blank times more effective than calling after 30 minutes. And the last question is, what % of leads decide to work with the business that responds first? So I'll give you guys just a little bit of time to chime in on that poll. And we'll go over the answers together. Looks like we're still getting some responses in. I'll give it just a couple more seconds, and then we'll go over the answers. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and share these results so you guys can see. So the first question, what is the ideal amount of time to respond to a new lead? The correct answer did get the most votes, so it is 5 minutes. The next question, calling within 5 minutes of receiving an online inquiry, is 21 times more effective than calling after 30 minutes. And 50% of leads decide to work with the business that responds first. That one also got the most votes. So great job. Thank you so much for your participation. Okay, so what's the solution to this? That would be to send a quick email or a text, and you can easily save this canned response that we have on the screen. You can save that to a note in your cell phone so that you can quickly copy and paste to a text or email. You can also create saved email messages within the message library found in the Boosh CRM that can be leveraged for a really quick follow-up. So in just a few clicks, you can ensure that you have a consistent experience for all contacts and leads. So when formulating your immediate response, the important thing to note is why this person became a lead. Did they favorite a property? Did they inquire about a specific property they want to see? Try to gather as much information as you can to make your response more impactful. If you don't have time to look too deeply into where this lead came from, but you still want to respond quickly, you can make another canned response that's super simple and to the point. So let's go ahead and work on creating a canned response together. The link that you see here on the screen will give you access to a document, so you can copy and paste some of our sample responses and then make tweaks to make the message sound more like you. So if you take that link and type it into your browser, it will pop up a couple example responses that you can use, and we'll review them together. Okie dokie. So the first thing that we're going to do is build a canned response in the message library. So I'm here on my Boosh dashboard. I'm going to go ahead and first access my settings. And then I'm going to click on settings pages here. I'm going to scroll down and click libraries. And then from here, we're going to click messages. Perfect. So once I am in my message library, I can quickly click add message up here on the top right. And I'm able to type in a title and then enter in my message. So if you were able to type in that link on the screen, it'll bring up this document here. So again, you can use these sample responses in your email message library, or you can use them to create a note in your phone for texting, up to you. We have an option for if you have time to investigate first. And so this one mentions this specific, allows you to message, allows you to enter in specific property or references. The next one is if you don't have time to investigate first. So a little bit more vague, but to the point, to let them know that you will reach out. And then we also have an optional video message response that we will go over in the next couple slides. So let me quickly go back to settings. All right, so we have a title field here. You can enter a title. That is just for your use to kind of keep everything organized. We see here, if you look on the left side, we have a recent buyer greeting, 2020 brokerage message, just so you can kind of stay organized. And then in the message field, you can compose your message. So if you'd like, you can copy and paste any of those sample responses and edit them accordingly to make them sound more like you. And then you can also change the font, format them however you'd like, if that's something you want to do as well. And when you're finished with your message, you'll just click add message.
Hey, Alexa, will you walk through the copy and paste piece of building out this canned message?
Yes.
Awesome. So if you guys go to the activity that I just sent over in the chat, you'll be able to basically use this as a copy and paste template and take it from this, this Google Doc, copy it, and then go into your message library and paste it in there, and then you can start tweaking it, right? So within your message library, you can leave it to say hi name. I would remove the quotation marks, but you could say hi name, so that when you choose this template, that name portion is your prompt to add in the person's name. It will not autofill their name for you, just something to note. You can also leave it as just hi and keep it super generic so that you don't have to remember to put their name in. But anything that is in those brackets is something that you'll fill in each time you send this message out to somebody. And so this can be used within your emails. You might be able to use it in text, but I don't remember off the top of my head. And you can create multiple canned messages. So you can take, you'll see in the activity itself that there's many different templates that you can use. So we've got the one example. If you have time to investigate where this lead is coming from, that's when you can add in, hi, Susie, I see you're interested in 1234 Main Street, or I see you wanted to see this property. I'm at an appointment right now, but I'll be in touch with you soon, right? The main goal of these canned responses is to just be able to respond to them immediately, because that's ultimately how you are going to, as you saw in that little poll, sorry, I just saw the message come through. All you need to do is click that link. It goes to a Google Doc. I was just able to use it, and so it should not be causing issues, but if it does cause issues, please let us know. Sorry, lost my train of thought. So, as we saw from that poll, it's a survey that I researched saying that, the quicker you respond to a lead, the more likely it is to convert them, right? If anyone has done any sort of online shopping, like with cars, to get more information, if you've ever tried to get more information on a car that you found online, if people don't respond, then you're going to go to the next person of a similar interest to whatever you're looking for. And whoever responds to you first, that's going to be who you're latching on to. So that's the ultimate goal of having these canned responses ready to go as soon as you accept that lead, right? These can all be various different messages that you have inside of your library. And you can even, I don't know if you mentioned this, Alexa, but you guys can even take these canned responses and put them in on your phone as like a note, so that you can go in and copy and paste from your note to a text message if you have their phone number to text. Making it, again, simply doesn't, or simply allows you to send that response very quickly. And can you let us know in the chat what's happening? Because I don't see anyone else having an issue, and I was able to click on the link. So can you let us know what you see on your screen when you click that link, please? Thank you. Cool. Alexa, if you wouldn't mind going back to your settings too.
Yeah.
And just making sure you click the add message. If you guys enter in this message and you don't click add and you leave the page, I would say it will not save. Sorry, I'm trying to read the chat and speak at the same time and it's not working. But make sure you guys click that add message so that it saves within your library.
Yes.
Awesome. I see other people are able to open the doc, which is awesome. I'm super glad it's working. And just let us know what's happening for you when you click that link and if it still doesn't work. Cool. All right. So that was step one, respond immediately, right? So now we're going to go back over to our slides and we're going to go to step two, which is to send a follow-up. So when you send or you reach out first, you're not always going to get a response, right? Probably more likely than not, you're not going to get a response from that first text or email that you send out to that person. That's why following up is so crucial. And this can be the same day or it can be the next day, just depending on when you reached out to them that first time. The follow-up can be in a various amount of ways, but the important piece or the important reason to follow up is to make sure that you are staying top of mind. You can reach out once and they could think you're just sending a generic message, which you are, but they don't have to do that to know that. But when you follow up, that's showing, hey, I actually really care about whatever it is that you're looking for, whatever help you need. I want to be that person. So that's why you want to follow up with them. And you can follow up with them with just an email. You could send a video email, which is what I recommend because a video is much more engaging and it's much more personal. It's also great for a prospect to put your face to your name and to the content that you're sending them. And again, videos are just extremely engaging. So we of course recommend BombBomb for this just because that is such a huge piece of the puzzle. Sorry, I have to close my chats because it's distracting me for right now. I'll get back to those in a second, but we recommend BombBomb since that's what we utilize. We have a little saying, the app is so good that they named it twice. There might be various other platforms out there that do not come at a cost. If anyone knows them, send them in the chat and we can share those out. But again, BombBomb is just a great way for you to send your face, and it can still be an engaging generic message that you record just one time and you send out every single time as a follow-up. And it could be as simple as, hi there, I see you're interested in a property that you found online. How can I help you? What more information can I provide to you to serve your needs? Or phrase that message however you want. Another great reason to use BombBomb though is because BombBomb and Booj can be connected and integrated together. So you can create a video in BombBomb and send that directly through your Booj account. and you'll be able to quickly access that email. You'll be able to track who it gets sent to and who it gets open with, even if you're sending it from Booj itself. It's just a great place so that you can keep your contacts in just one place. And again, to create that personalized information. It's also really important to know how to produce these videos. So we've got some tips on making your BombBomb video or any video email that you send out stick out from all the rest. So some things to always be mindful of is to make sure that you are mindful of what's behind you, right? My background is fairly simple. You can see a blanket in the corner of the table. It's not super distracting. However, sometimes, and I've seen these personally myself, there are some videos that have a lot of cords in the background, or their dog walks through, which you may have seen mine walk through and maybe you got distracted by him. But try to record your video with as minimal amount of things behind you as possible so that you're not distracting from your message. You also want to try to record yourself in natural light with that natural light in front of your face. That's going to help keep shadows off of your face. It could also be super distracting if your face is really dark. So just be cognizant of the lighting within your room. And then you'll also want to elevate your camera, and you want your camera to be about at eye level, maybe a little bit higher so that it's looking down at you, again, working those angles really well. And then the last piece is to make sure that you're in a place that's quiet, right? If you have the ability to use a microphone that's not super distracting, right? We've got the big snowball mics, but those are kind of distracting. If you have a clip-on mic that allows you to have better sound, use that. Otherwise, just use your computer microphone. But just make sure that background noise is minimal. If you can hear it, then the microphone can definitely hear it. That's like the number one thing that stuck out to me when I was learning how to record videos. So if you can hear it, the mic can hear it, meaning cars are driving by, or cars are honking, or your dog's barking out in the backyard or something. Just try to remove as many distractions as possible is really, again, that goal. And all these things are, again, just going to help your videos stand out a little bit more. So now that we have talk about the finer points of BombBomb, let's talk about step 3.
Okay, so after you've made your initial contact, try to spend as much time as you can cleaning up their contact record, and then try to gather as much additional information as possible. So you can leverage the information within the contact record to further personalize your communication and lead nurturing plan to convert prospects into happy clients. If you communicate outside of the system, be sure to log all of these interactions within Booj. So if you text from your cell phone instead of within Booj, or if you email from your Gmail account instead of from Booj, etc., you can log each of those interactions so you have that record and you can keep track of what you have done so far. Within the contact record, you can track and view important information that can be used to build your relationships, like the lead source, contact information for continued follow-up, communication preferences. So maybe they like to be contacted via text rather than phone call or email. You can include dates that are of significance. So a person's birthday, their property anniversary, or their wedding anniversary. Additionally, affiliation of lead, search activity, and more. You can also add tags to everyone in your database to categorize your audience and ensure that the right people are receiving relevant communications. Remax provides system-level tags within the Booj CRM, but you also have the ability to create your own. So if you want to use tags for a specific neighborhood that you specialize in, maybe you work a lot with buyers that are interested in condo living, you can create those tags and add them to your specific contacts. So you really want to think about what other information you can get from your conversations with leads that would help you in your marketing efforts. and then add these tags to help you organize your database in a way that makes the most sense for your business needs. We also have tasks that are another important piece to add to contacts and leads. So tasks and task plans allow you to track all of your to-dos from prospect all the way to close. And you can prioritize each item, check off tasks once they are completed, all from one location within your Boosh CRM so that nothing gets missed. Task plans also help you apply a series of individual tasks to a contact or lead or deal record based on different scenarios. So with leads, you can make sure that you complete the various tasks you need to help ensure nothing slips through the cracks and that you don't lose the lead. And you can access default task plan templates. You can edit those templates, or you can create your own. So while task plans save you time on task management, the task plan automation rules make the process even easier by automatically applying task plans to contacts or deals. So let's go ahead and jump back to Boosh and add some tasks and create a new lead task plan. Again, this link on the screen will give you access to the new lead task plan example we've created. And Kayla, if you wouldn't mind, I don't know if you have already actually, but hopefully the link will be available in the chat and you can go ahead and click that link. Instead of copying and pasting, that might be a little bit easier. If you can just copy the link from the chat that Kayla will add, perfect.
You don't even have to copy it. You can just click that link.
Yeah, you can just click directly on the link and it should take you there. So hopefully that will work a little bit easier.
Yeah, for those that the link is not working for with Google, I'm honestly not entirely sure why it's not working, because you don't need a Google account to access the documents. So
the only other thing I could think of is maybe if it was an issue with the browser, but hopefully having the link available to click in the chat will be a little bit easier, but feel free to let us know if you're still having trouble clicking that link. Okay, so let's go back. There we go. I'm going to start over here. Okay. So first we're going to go ahead and access the contact record. So I'm in Boosh, I'm on my dashboard. I'm going to click contacts and leads. And I have 6,202 results. So I'm going to search for someone specific. I'm going to use these filters available at the top here, and I'm going to filter by last name. So if I just click last name here, I can search and I can hit enter on my keyboard. And we have just one result. And I'm just going to click on her last name here, and that'll bring me to her dashboard. Perfect. So we talked a little bit about cleaning up the contact record just to make sure that we have all of the information that we need and everything is correct and accurate. So to do that, I can go click the details tab here, and I can see all of her contact information. So here I have a phone number and an email address, but maybe I may have mistyped. Maybe I typed in the phone number incorrectly and it's off by one number. So I can edit that number here by clicking the little pencil icon. I can also remove the number and replace it with something else. You can add a label if you'd like. So maybe they have a mobile number. You can also add a work number or a home number. We can also add additional contact information here. So if they have more than one email address, and again, we can select another label for this. We can also select primary email address. So if they do have more than one phone number or more than one email address, we know which one is their main one so that we know which one to use when we are contacting them. Okay. So I'm just going to head back to the dashboard. We talked a little bit about how important it is to add tags just to help you stay organized and help you kind of target your marketing, make it easier for you to target your marketing. So let's just pretend that after talking with Drew Barrymore, we find out that she's interested in living in a specific neighborhood. So we can go ahead and add a tag for that. So here I'm on her dashboard. I'm going to click add tag. And I have this drop down that I could select from. We can also add our own. So I've talked with her and she really likes living in Cherry Creek, which is a neighborhood here in Denver. So I can start typing that in and I can press enter on my keyboard to select it, or I can just click it. And then I'll go ahead and click add tag to save that tag. So after talking with her a little bit more, we learned that she has a dog and that she'd really like to live nearby a dog park. So again, I can go back in and add another tag. I can type in dog park and I can click add tag. All right. So that is cleaning up the contact record and adding tags. Next, let's go over tasks and task plans. So when you have a new lead, again, there will likely be several tasks that you need to complete. So you can start adding these to ensure that nothing slips through the cracks, you don't miss anything, and you really stay on top of it. So this could be as simple as a follow-up call, and you can add these one by one here on the dashboard. You can add them one by clicking add task. And so you can enter a title, you can set the due date, you can set the priority to low, medium, or high. You can also choose who it's assigned to, and then you can choose the type, and then you can optionally enter a description. So if you just have just a few things to add, you can add them one by one. If you'd like to save a little bit of time, you can also apply a task plan. And so next to add task, we have apply task plan. If you already have one created, you can select from the drop down here. But let's talk about how to create your own task plan. So we can click from here, we can click view task plans.
Hey, Alexa.
Yeah.
Will you also show them how to get here if from the settings drop down page?
Yes. Okay. So from settings, you can access it by accessing the settings, and then we will go to settings pages. And then all the way at the bottom, we'll go to tasks. And then it defaulted to task plans. So you can access it from the contact record, or you can access it from your settings. Super quick, super easy. Okay, so in order to add a task plan, we can click add task plan, the button right here on the right. And it's going to prompt us for a name. So I'm just going to type in new lead task plan. And this task plan is for new contacted leads. So I'm going to leave this check mark, this button selected. And then I'm going to click build task plan. And this is going to allow us to build our shell for the task plan. So we can click add task. And we can enter in the title, we can set a priority, and then we also have days until due. This is the time between starting a task plan and when the task is due. Excuse me. And then we also have a description field here. This is not necessary, but it is helpful if you want to just set some little reminders. Maybe something that would be helpful for that specific task. I'll have an example of that in just a second. So hopefully you were able to access the link. And if you were, this is what you'll see. This is an example of a new lead task plan that we have created for you. Again, you can take this task plan and customize it to fit whatever you need. You can just use it as an example and change it however you'd like. On this document, we also have some video resources. So this first one is contact task plan creation, just kind of reviews a little bit more in depth what we're going over right now. Then we also have one for task plan automation, which I'd also recommend watching. Okay, so let's go ahead and make our task plan. So I'm going to copy and paste these and make my own task plan. So I just copied the first line. I'm going to click add task. And I'm going to paste this text in the title. And then we also have days until due. I want to do this right away. So I'm going to leave this at 0 and I'll click add task. And I might take a second to load. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. I'm going to send a follow-up video email with BombBomb. And then this is an optional script. So I can copy and paste this too. And place that in my description, just as a little reminder. And I also want to leave that as days until due. I want to leave that as 0, just so that I can complete that right away if I did not reach them. So I'll click add task. And they'll slowly trickle in. So the next day, I want to follow up with a call, a text, or email in the morning. And since I want to do that the next day, I'll go ahead and add days until due 1, and I'll click add task. And there they are. After that, I'll follow up again in the early evening if no contact was made. And that one will be the next day as well. Next, I want to email an item of value. So this could be a listing they may be interested, specific services that you offer, anything that you can think of. And that'll be the next day as well. And I'll click add task. After that, we want to be really thorough and we want to follow up again with a call, text, or email in the morning and evening if we still weren't able to make contact. And I'll click the up arrow here to add to. Then we also have an optional script. So a couple days later, we can follow up again with a call, a text, or an email in the morning. In the evening, if no contact was made. And you can use the up or down arrows, or you can just type in the number, and we'll click add task. And then lastly, we can set them up on a new lead drip campaign if they're not on one already. We want to do this on day 4 as well, and I'll click add task. Okay, awesome. So that's my task plan, 8 tasks. So if I go back to Drew Barrymore, and I'm on her dashboard again. And I can click apply task plan again, just like we did a little bit earlier. And beforehand, I didn't have this task plan to select, but now I do. So I'm going to click new lead task plan because it's populated here. So once I select my task plan, I can click apply task plan. And each task populates here. And so these are the tasks that we marked as day 0. So these are the ones that are due today that I want to make sure that I complete. And then we also have ones that are due in the future. Again, here we can see this title. We can see what priority we've set. We've set them all as low. If I want to edit them for any reason, I can click this little pencil icon as well. I can change the priority. I can change the due date. I can add a description, change anything I want. And then we also can view the rest of them that maybe aren't available to be viewed all at once. That is task plans. Kayla, are there any questions I can answer? Anything I can go over again in the chat?
Let's see. So somebody asked, is there a way to send these reminders to my phone as a text? Putting them in the folder at the top is not helpful. And Daphne, right now, there's not a way to get these reminders sent to your phone, but we are enhancing the Boosh CRM mobile app throughout the next year. So this could be a functionality that comes in the future. So I would recommend heading to the idea portal, and I'll respond to your specific question in the Q&A. Go to the idea portal and send this as a suggestion of a future enhancement. So then other people can vote on it as well. And then hopefully the product team can make this something come to fruition.
Awesome.
There. Somebody also asked if there is a video on setting up task plans in RE/MAX University. And the answer is absolutely yes. If you go into RE/MAX University and search the word task plans, there will be a plethora of videos coming up, or that will show up in that list. There's also underneath, it'd be under Boosh and then CRM. There will be a lot of task plan videos there as well. I think the search bar is easier at the top. Somebody asked, can you show us how to go into Boosh and look at the tasks for the day? So if you guys go to that check mark in your top navigation banner, right now Alexa says 8, that will show you a list of all of your tasks. If there's more, you can also click that view all button on the bottom of your screen. And then you can also, I believe, go back to your dashboard. So if we click Boosh icon, it'll take you back to your dashboard. And so you can add a widget to your screen. Alexa already has one showing that will show you your tasks. So actually, Alexa, go to the bottom, or I'm sorry, the top right corner where it says edit widgets, which all of you can do this as well. You can click edit widgets and then click the remove next to tasks so we can start from scratch. So now you guys will all be starting from relatively scratch like this. So when you click edit widgets, you'll click add down in the bottom right corner. Then you'll click tasks and click add. And then where'd that show up? Well, it might take a second to refresh, but
oh, here it is.
There it is. Will you move that back to the top like we had it? So you can rearrange these as well.
Oops, sorry.
That's okay. It's a little finicky sometimes. But this will allow you to see your tasks that are coming up right from your dashboard as soon as you get into the Boosh app. Cool. Lynn asked if I create my own task plan, can it be used for every new lead? Yes, Lynn, absolutely. And I believe we have a video for new lead task plans in RE/MAX University as well. So again, search for new lead, or you can search for task plan inside of RE/MAX University to find the video that will help you set that up. And I'll again respond to your question. Cool, let's keep going so we can stay on track with our time.
Perfect.
We'll answer these questions throughout.
Okie dokie. Moving right along.
All right, so let's keep going with these 5 steps for lead generation and or lead conversion strategy. So we've talked about a lot so far. Step 4 of this conversion strategy that we've created is to find and send similar listings. So a lead fills out a form on your Boosh website or wherever it was that they became a lead, and they're most likely inquiring about a specific property, right? Those details will then get stored inside of the Boosh CRM, and you'll be able to access that information from their contact record. You can then take that info and leverage it to respond to the lead that came through with a more specific answer, or by sending them those similar homes in addition to providing them more details about the property that they're already interested in. As you all know, today's market is super, super competitive. And so sharing the benefits of creating that universal consumer account, like we talked about earlier, is going to ensure that your leads know first and foremost as quickly as possible when any new listing hits the market. So one thing that we want to encourage you to do is to encourage your leads to select you as their PBA, like we've already talked about when they first begin working with you, so that all of their inquiries then get sent directly to you. Not only does that empower the consumer then to choose that agent that they're working with, but it also provides you the insight on their search activities so you can elevate the experience that you offer to your clients. Any new lead activity, like searching for a property or saving searches from the lead's contact record inside of the Boosh CRM, will show for you once you're selected as the PBA. If you are the assigned agent and they get routed to you from remax.com, for example, you'll be able to see that search activity, but you will not see anything past that until you are selected as their PBA. I've sent it in the chat, but again, in Remax University, if you search the term on-boarding, there is a really helpful video to onboard your consumers to the mobile app. And we highly recommend watching that video so that you can really understand the process and why it's important. But we'll also talk about it more tomorrow. You're muted.
Okay, sorry about that. So the last step we have is to add your new lead to a drip campaign. We'll talk about this more after the break, but if you remember when we created our task plan, that was the last and final step that we had in our task plan. So this is something that you definitely want to do so that you just have that continued communication. And again, we will talk about this more after the break. Okay. So for this class, we have just one task for you guys to complete. It is to take the 5-step lead conversion strategy and fine tune it to really fit your business. Once again, if you guys have any questions or issues with anything on Marketplace, you can reach out to product support through the support services tile in Max Center, and you can call or text the number on the screen, or you can also email them at productsupport@remax.net. So we have a little bit of time to answer some questions. So if you have any questions that you've been hanging on to, feel free to type those into the chat now and we can get those answered for you.
Yes. All right. So I have one answer to an outstanding question that I've been leaving in the Q&A from Tammy, and a couple of asked a similar question. And so one thing that we didn't talk about today when it comes to lead routing from the office level is something called Shark Tank. And this is when it happens after hours, mostly unless your broker changes the settings, but by default, Shark Tank happens after hours. And what Shark Tank means is that a lead comes in, and if Shark Tank is enabled, that means every agent within that Shark Tank has the same opportunity to respond to that lead. By default, it's set to after hours because less people are likely to respond within that hour time frame. So most likely that is what happened. But Tammy, if you can send me the lead's email, we can look into it further. But most likely that is what happened. Is it was Shark Tank. So there were multiple agents that were involved in that lead. Again, that is only from the office level down or team level down. And it would include whoever is in that specific hierarchy. Another question we got, is there a way to move your day one task items into order if they do not appear in the order you added them? So tasks and the way task plans are built is, Alexa showed you, we have day 0, day 1, etc. That is how you will order specific things. But if you have multiple day 0, so something that's due the day it gets enabled, that task plan gets enabled, those cannot be put in a specific order, but they will show first, if that makes a little bit more sense. How do we set up automatic newsletter for clients in Boosh? So right now, you will still have to manually send the newsletter each month, but if you add the tag newsletter to each of the contacts that you want to receive them, unless it's everyone, then you can choose all as the recipient list. And again, we're going to go more into drip campaigns in the next class, so that will be more helpful when we live drive that. But you can send a single send campaign to all, and then you would choose that monthly newsletter each month, and those should be available a week or two before the following month, so that you have time to get it prepared and ready to send. So Paul asked, if we're set as the PBA, are there any circumstances where we will be removed as the PBA besides client removing us? To my knowledge, no, you will not be removed from the PBA unless the client removes you themselves, or potentially if they delete their universal account, that would remove you as their PBA because they no longer exist. But outside of that, I do not see that you will not be removed as their PBA unless the client does so themselves. Sorry, Kim, I'm reading your question. So Alexa, can you go back to your browser? I think it'll be easier to answer Kim's question by showing. So can you go to the task plan in the settings? So when you are creating a task plan, go just to create a new, go back to just create one from scratch.
Create a new one, okay.
You just label it test you. So when you add a task, we'll just keep all of these at day 0 for right now. Say task 1 is the first task you enter. Click add task, and then you go in and you click add task again, task 2. It's going to go in the order that you put it. So if you have tasks that you would prefer to do in the morning and you want to show at the top, that's what you will add first. But regardless, those tasks will still show. That's good for the right there. So now if you went to go to your contacts and leads, you can go to any, it doesn't have to be her because she already has a task plan. Go to somebody who doesn't, you'll just clear. Any of them is probably fine. No, not that one.
Except her. There we go.
Okay, so add task plan, and we'll do the test that we just did. Hopefully we can find it. Did you name it that, or did you name it?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
There it is.
So now those are all due today. So if you go up to your check mark, it might take a second to load, but your check mark at the top, I can see under the due today section, task 1, because that's the one I entered, is going to be towards the top of that due today section. Once it's late, we have a lot here, so it may not show, but yours will most likely, this is a test account, so yours will most likely be a lot cleaner than this. You're going to check things off as they go, but it will show up in whatever order you put it in. Hopefully that helps clarify that. All right. All right, so Jeffrey asked, I pay for HomeSnap leads. When I get a lead alert from HomeSnap, the app has already sent the lead an automated response that you don't care for. Is there a way for me to customize the auto response that HomeSnap sends? I'm not familiar with HomeSnap. That's not one of the products that we support in terms of training. So you would have to reach out to the HomeSnap support team in order to figure out if you can change what that response is. And then, yep, just as a reminder, I've seen this content or this question a couple of times. This will be recorded or is being recorded, and we will email these recordings to you along with the survey at the very end of today. And then you'll get another email tomorrow as well. We still have one more class to go through. Is Shark Tank only for brokers or agents also? So Shark Tank is set up from the office level down. It's how office lead routing, it's part of the office lead routing rules. So a broker could set up Shark Tank and include all of their agents so that all of their agents receive the lead notification at the same time. And then whoever answers it first gets the lead. I don't think many brokers do that because their agents would not be very happy with them, but it is a possibility. So talk to your broker more about how their settings are set up if you want more information for your specific office. Awesome. So let's go ahead to our next slide to give the link here, and I'll send this link to you guys as well. So we've got a ton of links here. Again, all of the ones for the activities. And then for the slides as well, I'm typing it out as I speak and I can't multitask well. So, see. Okay. So in the chat is the link for the slides. And we are going to go on our next break. And we will have an 8-minute break this time since we went 2 minutes over with our questions, but that's okay. So Alexa, go ahead to or I can, if you want, to share my screen so I can play music too. But
Yeah.
Cool. I will do that. And then we'll see you back here at 11:20 to get started with our third and final class. And something's happening with my screen there. Oh man, just give me one sec. All right, see you guys in a few.